Adofnum enenso yemamwadwo emamwakwapa emamwatenase kwesi ada nwumre no nsia bo adage ni poso agi yemre program ede ba wakwan so home based tv no ne bre na awie duru nti mesre fa phone ne fradofo se ebre na awie du se bempani se nkwampa etwe adwa to mmetenase na nyankopon asem a ehinta etitibe na wada na didi a kire yen sefo no yenti na yenti mfransisi ye homa Yesu maya enema nyina di adanse se enche na oban nti yeda mo ase na mobetimi ahwe dwumadi e wo Facebook home based tv ne hono de mesra wo ne se okọ no a like program no ne share because onua bi wo ha odi access to tv baby wo ne tv ni ho se de be wo no so betimi ahwe program no ti ye ne sa pepepe efa mayen enu achi no so ma mo hwe wo Royal TV yama munyina adwo ema atenase damo ase se enanwumre nso magye bre na mo hwe dwumadie no nyankopon enhyira mo we ye from esuafo de hye Kofi Kakari na enyame nko ena me ha evangelist the researcher of our time evangelist Joseph Anane evangelist mo adwo mo kwaba
yeah
me just keep close to forge or felso
pepe
ye dai ho ase fine na obeka me ho nso near the aseda kese amadofo a omo na ebo dwumadie ho ka da bia ya na evangelist aka se ye mienu na yete ha nanso ye bru mienu because one na sabe etuo nya kiginafo a na eto saafo na yi sikatietia kakrakra no mo ato afamfram mu dia brain se monye na momfa ntua airtime no se de be ya dwumadie betimi abaya kwan so odi mesre se wonso eka wakoma so pese oboama asem ye ka last week so tia na evangelist ka say akabriti a wabi wan hwe yi a message bi ati say no ye ma ye nka e wo tv so bio enti se ye won ebribia se ye kasa ansem we ya eye ne nemum enye chena hwa na akachi ti kakra bi word of won nsem no obe send it their brain 055 35 74 933 that's 055 35 74 933 good screen so the same number no so na person evangelist kasa obefre ubenya no na wone no akasa kama post send this car edin beba na Joseph Anane into moncha no so sa emain and the topic I hwe no ye toa the Troublers of Isreal and they part 4 and I toa so na ye was 7 videos ye behwe na ye besre program no course a record bi to ye nyu any patent right bia na say bibi record bi to for future reference said the bear won so the bidabi no betmenya na wasan ahwebi wu dodo a mo hwe Facebook last week no bon say ye wie program na eno mu yi free Facebook ye nim ni intra enti hwe ni ye na eba twebe fa to hono for future okay na the Troublers of Isreal no ye nkyire mu a ye de ma ye ne say emre bi duri e wo Bible abakosemu a Elijah kohye nkom say ensuo ento the saint o hye sa nkom ne say AHAB ene o man ni nyina akodi abosom achi eto nyankopon bransem etotwene eno ne kofa asa oyene no ede ba won so enti bra a wo mu hia Elijah no bizan se wo ne nia wo ha Israel no se da bi bo nyamea na mo wo hene ene wo mpanimfo sam wato nyankopon bransem aguo na mo akodi abosom gugu achi eno ne faro bai akofa ohaw no ede aba enti ye wiase hawa ye nam seisei no asofo binom ka ho agifo binom ka ho asempakafo binom ka ho ena man panimfo akukudam bebre so ka ho efise wɔn aka bom de ani adin etu nyankopɔn mmara nsɛm agu nti so how bia ba wiase a wɔn na ɛsɛ yɛde ensa etene wɔn so ɛno na yɛgu so a yɛkyirikyiri mu nene nso yɛsan atoa so evangelist mo akwa ba bio the Troublers of Isreal part 4
good yɛda onyankopɔn ase saa so na yɛde aseda ma yaboafoɔ wɔn a ama ne yɛ MTN mobile money na wohwe nyinaa mu ɛne program nyinaa mu yɛda ɔmo nyinaa ase ɔmo ɛmmoa ɛna nwumere yɛde ti ha yi
that's right
na da bia sɛ deɛ meka no mesan ka ne biem ɔmo ɛnam yɛn nso yɛ mu ɛna yɛde asɛmpa no ɛma wiase enti no yɛda mo ase monkɔ so na ɔmo nteɛ no so no momma ɔmo amaneɛ ɛma yɛn. There is only one good news in town. As in Papa could penny wokru, and it's a Christo Yesu and Chobeba.
That's right.
And no dear, Opa Wumpo, and Che, Obeba. Ain't no Sissio. It's a Wumpa Crano or Beba. And Sissy Hunishiano. And only as just said, Nija Samoa, a wokru. Pa. Many know is Rami Penchiama, all team members in Nara, meant to me Bomb Yamia, Yebre Eswa. The Troublers of Israel, part 4. Memiabo. Video said they can mean
okay.
Now for yet share kasase.
That's right. That's right. Said them can they 7 videos.
Yes.
It message production I already at Ajini Poso. Video 1 and 2. Yes, some and for my.
She's thirsty, hungry, and too weak to get up. Cold water is poured on her to try and cool her down, but the animal is too far gone. 24 hours later, she's dead. It's the dry season in Zimbabwe, but park officials say this year it's much hotter and drier than usual. Hundreds of elephants and other animals are dying.
We've been through some pretty bad ones. When you see animals just walking along, elephants for example, and they just collapse on their legs, they don't even roll over, they just collapse and die. It's very emotionally moving.
This is Mana Pools National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the north. People here say the land has completely changed. This is Long Pool, the biggest watering hole in the national park. There's this distinct smell, the smell of death. Over here is the carcass of an elephant, and over there, that hippo got stuck in the mud. It couldn't get out for days, and then it died. And if you look up at this tree over here, there's that white line you can see there. That's where the water used to reach, but now the area is parched. Temperatures can reach more than 45 degrees Celsius, and even the fish are struggling. There are too many animals competing for scarce food and water, and many are exhausted.
From me Francis Okolankui, me dim fi adusia anan na me wo otwebede adua community. Me ne me yire ni me busua na ewo ho. Na me ye kokokua ni me ne me yire e na ye adwuma no. E adwuma din anso me yire me ne na aguso ye sa kokoko adwuma no. Na sese no me hu se wimu nsakra na aba no nsu na nto te se nka na eto no nti e ma udua kokoko no a enche wan hwe so yi a enche na ewu
kaban maete di kula konta
me hu se owia na ebo no so ano odin na owia na no odin nti esise ye bo modern se ye bebo ye fu no ban nti ni aye di bo ye fu no ban ne se ye dua nnua ti se mre ofram ne dua ti se ewo kokoko bi ya dua bi wo so afi so ye bo modern se ye bua nwura no wo kokoko na ase se ne ye be ya nsu na ewo asase no mo na ansa
adama debe jauna benja
nti mesre se aban mra mu na onde muaye se ne be ya oja hihie se ne hihie jambasa basa ano emrase afi so nnua won atwa nnua basa no so yesra aban se omuaye se ne be ya ono so be brase so no brase
adofo no yesan emamo kwa ba bio mem se videos 2 no Yin Chichimu, Nanso won't be a DNA evangelist. You have 2 videos.
Yes. Yenyan in TS or more
RTV no Monya challenge crime say volume no Emma Munya sound no. You have some about technicians na money into one year point. Namon from high ends on evangelist.
I will say video de kind. I bomb or sooner than that home.
That's right.
You shoe a gunuso. Na ni nyina wi mo say climate change. E wi mo sa try na aba no. E no na akoka emwa no I was in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Ma just say nsu awe, nsu nto e wi mo asachira. Video to so mienu, ono kasa de o say Ghana ni. Ono UN for na buy sa footage no. E ma yen. O mo de akoyo mo program. Na me pese we kitue edi adanse e kire wiase. Se nokre ewie mu asasa me changer aba ya ye wo ha yagitum we are not denying the facts
even as kuyani bi o Ghana ha be dia dance say bra na isan kom dua no bai te say de na kane tete na ye ku ane ye no asasa
very good sana le na koye enti no ye hwe no say the bible si aka no oho
okay
ade na aba no abrofo na to no this climate change no ma chire mo kwa ye fa so bai no ye nso so ye the bible chire mu.
Okay.
To omodie no yenka so omoboa. Omo ka nokre. Na said the Bible be kire mu nie. On say ahemfo me di kan e kire dun so che mo baako ne nson. 1 Kings chapter 17 verse 1 and verse 7. Verse 1 na Elijah ade enkomhye ne amanebo ebre AHAB say ye ho ate ase yi. Osuo dun suo ebinto. Eno ye chichemo de kan. Ampa so Bible kire mo say edru chichemo nson no empo esobonten wokrum ne nyina we se osu anto a enka sobonte wo ho de ka no de ka enta ho na manfo se benum
that's right
e ba ne se eno so we ye oho ti se Zimbabwe ye ne ye hwe no se osu onto fri soro a ene sobonte na wo krom so so eno so ye nya no na nsuo no entene ko
that's right
eno so ne nyina we
because e bi fra botan mu ne ase na eba
he de ne nyina jaaye ena me kire mo ha se saa de ne esia Bible kire se eye Nyankopon mra ya to eno ene de ba.
That's right.
Enti no near climate change for air kase e nipa nsam no dwuma no ye gitum nipa ye dwuma e di bo Nyankopon mra nsam so ti ese Nyankopon so ka kire ye se yes on the board
that's right
ye be kan document production dey atoso se ya na ye ntimi nkan nyina ba bia halate ne nko e free hard be si ha na e be basket no so suma omo akenkan ti pa cho mo amon hwe no monni kan they say
modern Ghana
yes
courtesy information we free or say cocoa to disappear in 40 years if climate change runs rampant.
Say
wow
in fear na ye di animu yi say ewie mo sa kire to aso a ye nya cocoa
say the economy say kono sa
ye nya cocoa
okay the convener of Mission 2020 a global initiative pushing for urgent action on climate change, Christiana Figueres has warned that cocoa is likely to disappear in the next 4 decades if global warming continues to be a big problem. Farmers in cocoa growing countries such as Ghana may not be able to cultivate the important crop if urgent action is not taken to mitigate the effects of climate change.
Enti we de mame na oboni di no Christiana Figueres no
that's right
pacho oye United Nations just say amansan ka bonko twetwerefo pani a ohwe san ansam yesu no waka ho ono ba mane se eto so say dia ene Ghana ye ho beka
that's right
ena me kire mo ha se di omo ka ne anokure se nipa nsan no nwuma na akofa aba na efiri enwuma ye ya de to Nyankopon mra
that's right
we na wo kire mo se asofo ka ho bi se ene asofo kire mo se Nyankopon mra ni ho enti nipa ye dwuma ade se ti se ka asa petrol asa wom ansa na ka ne gina so onwu ya obekoso edwuma saa onim homeda onim hwe enso Bible aka se ka nansia na emfa nya edwuma de to so nso ne ye nhome asofo se we ni ho ntinisi ya ma nipa kwai
ye homeda ma Awurade Nyankopon
enti na ebra AHAB oshia Elijah ewo verse 17 no ka se wo na wo ha Israel o se nyame a se wo ne wo fiefo wo to Nyankopon mra de make ni the Guardian e dey buy
okay
na Guardian ni some or dey buy no ye be kan eno so okay wo de hwe date no ma wo no
okay the Guardian that's Thursday 16th May 2013
yes
survey finds 97% of climate science papers agree warming is man-made.
Yes.
Overwhelming majority of peer-reviewed papers taking a position on global warming say humans are causing it.
Very good. I want to say enipa and edeba. And any point na me make you know. Onyankopon catch Israel for patcho wo hwe Deuteronomy mo se ngumeto so enum. Etre duasa chechemu dunum. Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 15. Or says hwe me de enkwa any papa mesi wonim.
That's right.
And me de owo any boni mesi wonim. I mean can bro for see I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. Odo 16 or say in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in all his to walk in his ways and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Okay.
And in Onyankopon can say what day enkwa any yes. So betie ni mransem na wode so se be besi uye e wasase a ode ukono so.
That's right.
And na ye ka kire wi asese sa asem no enkoma Israel ko ekoma Nyankopon ba biara.
Okay.
And asofo no kan kire ye wi asese Onyankopon boy o so de nansia and e bo na de. And na de to so de hu meye suban ya Nyankopon de bo nipa ni. Bible so Nyankopon bo nipa o ne suban
so send insertion.
Yes. And the suban Nyankopon no de bo nipa ni. Den ne asofo ne se sa suban ni eni ho. So aja say and just Nyankopon o de sa suban ne share mu biu. And no ensuensu na abiwie na ya to din se climate ya no kra na mum nipa boni na kopa san so na baba. Very well. Yenko videos 3-4 so na yempa nkyere bibi kakra mu.
Yebeko 3-4 no so but evangelist me to ase here na che senka asofo adifo asempakafo eni wiase nyina eni beba ye ho so.
Yes.
Nye hu se ya tu Nyankopon mra eno na akwa sa awi abaye so nye sa akodi Nyankopon mra so a se de ne bo shete no obesa ya asase na yade mama usu ato ne brem. Videos 3 and 4 production.
30 years ago here, water stretched as far as the eye could see. Today, the ground cracks beneath the beating sun. The Tagus is the longest river in the Iberian Peninsula. A desperate sight. Francisco Pérez Torrecilla is the mayor of Sacedón, a town on the riverside 100 kilometers east of Madrid.
The water should come up to the viaduct, but the reservoir is at 9% of total capacity.
And the streams provided fish and drinking water, but not anymore. She says global warming has changed that.
Now it's much more difficult to get water since streams and wells dry up, especially in the winter. Now we have to walk so far to get water.
Environmentalists say the hill tracts regions are in danger of losing their prehistoric hill streams. Streams like this all across Chittagong hill tracts are gradually drying up. Villagers have to struggle to get their freshwater needs. They're getting increasingly concerned for their future need for fresh water. Women here collect water, and it's getting harder.
It's become much more difficult to get water from the streams and wells. They're drying up, especially in winter. Unlike before, we have to walk far now to get fresh water.
Social act.
Adofno yesan emmo kwaba biu yanko evangelist on the videos akwa kwahwe no on chechemu emfanchen evangelist.
Very good. I want to say the dekano eye ensu a ewo Europe.
Okay.
The Tagus River. Almost just is about 2,000 mile stretch. And na Arisal.
Wow.
The rest of me no India. And so ensu na Arisal. Na we no our body when as a paper scientists say a climate change. We agree.
Okay.
And na almost say a nipa and aye. And I children say a nipa no aye a bonny ye chen yakupon and yakupon alokunsu. And yes, a beer nipa a ye jumado into the jato.
Okay.
There be ye chere say nipa ye boni nti Nyankopon no watu nsuo no
okay
say be ya adwen ba ye ho so me kan Psalm 107 verse 33 production there two screens Psalm 107 verse number 33 and 34 said ye what can he or said that he turneth rivers into a wilderness and the water springs into dry ground.
Okay, normal usury a futuro.
Sir, Onyankopon oma nsuowi. He does it. Enti se omo say nipa na ye dwuma ma nsuo awewe mo nsuo to a Bible kire mo say Onyankopon oma nsuowi. Odu verse 34 or say a fruitful land into barrenness for the wickedness of them that dwell therein.
Asase a enke so no bae from enam enipa bone sam yonti no etimi bedane asase a entimi ma no bae.
Very good. Enti Onyankopon na ya ono no bo ade ono bo subonten nsuntire nyina Nyankopon na boy se bofo de kan edrese metredu 9 chemu nsia ne nson o se yenso de obo so na asase yes ne de obo de nsuntire nyina yes enu ntini Onyankopon obo ne nsuo no onukwa befa so obo nsuo na awe.
Okay,
Elijah ebra obeka kire AHAB se osuo nto na nsuo sha ase wiye no na climate na nipa ensan na nyuma ne cause
na yensu science said ye ne yesu no Senanka scientist you are come say climate change.
Yes, so and climate change no causes no omwe say carbon and na air cost the carbon emissions. In the days of Elijah, na carbon emissions cost
there be
ni ho.
And so really
enti na me kire mo say do obo na ade no ono na a day sa nyama nyina ba. Enti na wo hwe 2 Chronicles chapter 6 verse 26. Ebra now ni Solomon. Nyankopon so kasa no. Or say when the heaven is shut up.
So what was
sir, and there is no rain because they have sinned against thee. Yet if they pray toward this place and confess thy name and turn from their sin, and no now can say then hear thou them from heaven. Verse 27. And until the dear echo son, as of one can ye wo we say, ya boni ya to Nyankopon na ye nyina yesu fro Nyankopon
so and ye twa
na aba no sa anything na science for the aba say 97% almost 97% of scientists dey to me say ade na say na man made fine man made that no problem
okay
o ya je atom say nipa na ye e na ye di anu aduro ma wo no na anu aduro na science dey ba no ekwaku che Nyankopon mra da mo ye be kasa say ya
na kwanya te se wodi afenfema de na ye be twa kwato kukum
very good
uduro na nkwala ebasi kire ball as medago
sa one will say 2 weeks ago any last week you can say Paul Francis say a science for the abase nipansa no nyuma e na de ohaw na benti no ono befa abodem nyasapepo na science for nchereche obefa no no akofa Judafo som ene Christopher som afra na for the amai akwankyere
that's right
hope can say no brofo no say the global way me ko to finance no or say the global environmental problems identified by science and you one then interpreted in the light of the biblical message.
Okay.
Explained in the broader context of the papal understanding of the globalization and modernization. The American Yinano Ejina Pope Francis Laudato Si say, if you must say na abano, we cheer the abodu nyasape for naka, wa fam waba, and warfare free trenum, Judah for sum, and it is sum, na obefa akwanchire free ho, na for the Maviasi Yina Maviasi Edisu.
That's right.
And you know what is say. Science for say nipa eye dwuma hawiase no eno de ba ese sa de aye nyedai ye humi papa bia ye
found ba
yes
oni wiase nyina
very good
all activities
document be about out that and production that to screen so na ye be kan edoso but ye be kan ni kakra bi
okay
na de ochro ne friend no Mahanem David Smanja or ye Israeli
okay
edoso de be memo kan be to bi keke adansi enti page 2, baby, I highlighted no that whole paragraph.
Okay.
Baby, also Dr. Smanja's
the modest proposal for a day of rest.
Very good.
Also, Dr. Samanja's daring plan calls for an international day of rest.
Very good.
About 53 days per year, plus approximately 15 holidays.
Yes.
Where cumulatively there would be a cessation of all productive activity for approximately 70 days.
Yes.
Or about 20% of the year.
Very good.
These days of non-activity would help achieve the shared global outline in the Paris Climate Conference Compact 21.
Yes, COP 21.
Of a 20% reduction of pollution globally by 2050, with the aim of keeping global warming below 2 degrees Celsius.
And that one. And the papa, or no, the buyer say, in the can documents now, or body say, he reported the member that said, a Christopher Class or the Quasiada, a Grimofocon Fiada, and no soma who don't so or Munda who do I the Hume. That's right. Papa Nasimini, Yenya Brancanin in Enti. And to our noses who say, Yenya Dako, and so my we are singing Nara. Now to be a new woman said, and so. Yet me and the Sa, ye bring us an unquan by a Drunumiansa, our afternoon. Now pay the holiday Macoma Cumnus as so. And ye and the Sadia, or how more Abaviasino, ye benya a more or how much more dream, 20% dear, Sa Humiano, being a opera. That's right. And Una Pope Francis addition a character must say, Yampa was said that in Sio. Na yen humiso enti mpacho mo amoti enu yen kan say Pope Francis de akoshe mrase yen pa kwose da kwa sorry o onu wo de koye say yen hye mrase kwose da no yen humiso ye panye dwuma.
That's right. Enna UN so atoaba age atum say de wo de aba no unanimously
ya age atum so aja say enti UN je tum wie ye no e na fe wo kire Christopher say kwose da ye de kwa so da no ye homeda enti afe no ne Christopher ye ka Amunyina agiatum because my kind document will have a breed.
That's right.
And you know, Cremonia or whom question dano, or whom question that's all the question, or whom question that is you and the Abbasset, young me, and a Cremo Buddha, Krishna, Hindu, Shintoism, or Moninano, question number whom and yes, I be over the question. I am Ran Ambassador whom question. And
I be on Penica as a lockdown, Ubian shed them, yes, near share them,
Pepe. So, and don't you know, baby, I put France there, I didn't know. Sanyakuan wow, now you and me and Yadi Netia. When your Bible when you want to be a Bible and you want to be a and to share Paris climate change a document article 2 no. I want to Francis so day I didn't know right. That's right. Now Andentina, a bra you call Paris Union or Moji to say the Yadia tomb in 2015 or say on the Bejuma in 2020. So okay. Hey. Now Uncle Jim was say Uncle Jim 2015 2020 and the program been on the buy. Na omuji tumi ya na Pope Francis de no masem ebetu dwa. Okay. Na asemo de to dwa no patro production de na to screen so na ahwefo hwe sa de ni yie pa. Every say omo kasa ye 2015. Okay. Sa finu eno mo kan say mfenu mo che ye 2020 no. De omuji tu mu no America say Pope Francis kwesa dam na akoshe mu no. 2020 ye di sa de ni be ye dwuma. Okay. Mo je sa de ni every UN. Enti no wo mo de ba na Pope kasa ye. Okasa in the document na ye bekan. Okay. Obeka baby mahalate no kwa because adorso.
Pope Francis praises historic Paris Climate Change Agreement.
Very good.
December 14th, 2015. Rome. Pope Francis on Sunday praised what he called an historic agreement reached at a United Nations Climate Change Summit in Paris and called for a global commitment to implement it. Including special attention to the poorest population. Okay, so we should have it's partly legally binding, yes, and partly voluntary, and will take effect in 2020.
So as I say, and the Pope Francis boy amania say, Paris Agreement, you know, I Paris Agreement, na yakoji atumu. Was see what I'm penning for us or Boma Basso, and what can sa time not 2015 said the yakoji atumu, ni fabi. Be juma and your or people or your na the be juma ni bidie be and the your share yamra na ebebamu 2020.
That's right.
And you know the you and get 2015 no na ayo mo adwene mu na o trim po se mfenu mu achie ya afia atwa mu yi
and implementation no
ye ni be sha se juma and the kanoma nyina ko so yie ma wono mu a en ka afia atwa mu yi ka ye beti se ye de mra be ba wi ase se yempa kwese on yempa home.
That's right.
Na eyede na sa de no amaso. No ma mienu su enigina.
Okay.
Edi kan. Ye be kan newsletter we. Baby a halete no ABC. Na na hwe aye patro ya hwe date no. Ama ehun hia pa.
We UN news.
Very good.
Key Compact 26 climate summit postponed to safeguard lives.
So I just say, I feel
2nd April 2020.
And you know, meet Yanka Ombeko, nobody a marana by in 2020. Yareni by an into almost a meet your day, ya twasheda.
Okay.
So said I crem, I feel to a meeting.
Okay, I say, with no end in sight to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, the UN climate change talks, which were due to take place in Scotland later in the year, has been postponed until next year.
Very good. And until next year, this year.
And I say the decision was announced on Wednesday night.
Yes.
By the advisory group to the COP26 talks overseen by the UN climate change body, the UNFCCC.
Yes.
After talks involving the United Kingdom and other countries.
So and to where one because I know you 2020 no month me amfa mra number.
Okay.
Ba ko COVID-19. Now omo nim say COVID-19 be baba. So I just say.
Okay.
Afa to so mienu o man peninga da Donald Trump. Ono so ebe kan say sa Paris agreement no a ya wiase agi atom no ono ba no se oyi America film.
That's right.
Ya bo video no a wa ha ti me wa hwe program e de American no.
That's right.
Enya ade foforo. And Trump free no na ma 2020 no ka so ya de no na ehihim.
Okay.
Na nyema bi ko so bebre ya bobi so ebre bi ba je din.
Okay.
Na ebra so ye be san timu bi obeka document we amaye.
Okay.
Na every United Nations Environmental Program for EHO.
Okay. Okay, we UN Environmental Program 26 January 2021. Ananuya.
Yes. What their candidate?
In battle against climate change, courts become a new frontier.
Frontier, yes.
People, including children and indigenous communities, are increasingly turning to the courts to compel governments and businesses to respect and accelerate commitment on climate change. According to a report from the United Nations Environmental Program, published today, the number of climate change litigation cases has surged in the last 4 years and now stand at 1,550 in 38 countries, 39 including the courts of the European Union.
Donald Trump take on so mpie nan no. Ye di na court or no ni krom. Any nkra hodo so. Or say court cases e gina commission eye ope baako, ahanum any aduonum.
That's right.
Ewo enkro aduasan wotwe mu. We no European nation can European Union no kwa no ekuta beye
39.
So I say 27 countries. I'm looking at 29 climate laws.
Okay.
And now watch me as of 1st July.
Okay, as of 1st July 2020, some 1,200 of these cases were filed in the United States and 350 in all other countries combined.
And John said, Donald Trump, you did not go court and pray up a balcony ahenu 1,200 court cases.
Climate change.
Climate change. Papa na abonitirim po ayeden ho se ontu ne nsi court dem hoda. Wanko bi ba ko kura wanko.
Wow.
Ye brand say yasamo wa ha brabe yi wa no, bi yasamo ha brabe yin. E bi no ho ko e no
kan bin supina nana.
Papa no tese wetin
tintin
wo se wonko. Enti no mfie nan no a ye bono ni bankum ni fa ye woni tukọ ye defedefo no nyina no. Na ye de no su court. Enti emra bi ne ho atimi Donald Trump.
Okay. Also, the report entitled Global Climate Litigation Report 2020 Status Review noted this was almost double the number identified in an inaugural 2017 UNEP report.
How be? I don't know. In fear nine, no man is see 2020 quine or more intimi ampasse or more run on some de ban. No man see be quine.
Okay.
Or what they call court. Yes, a bemotra holding. Now, yembo video back on Enfamra, the next video, just one.
Okay. Production, the next video.
A new US president and a fresh approach to foreign policy.
America is back. America is back. Diplomacy is back at the center of our foreign policy.
President Joe Biden used his first visit to the State Department
don't know some more about you. America is back. Safin wa join the program leading the DMRE. Now the air share a climate change. Air cost viase baby gano a hin be a air company. And non a scientist, Asha woman, she woman, no say nipa. And I confasani me we in Yinaba. And non a ye Asha Bible moon so a dear dance the actually baby. Elijah time be see Sabrina climate change, and yet carbon emissions and the air cost. Nemu Yankopon akase say ye to no mransem boapa to no mrabua. Obeto so mu na omansu ntonti de ekoso no ye Christopher so ye hwe no Bible from the biblical perspective. And you so ye ba ba mu de kiro no agye di say ampa Yankopon ebuafu. Evangelist to us my.
And I say Omampene na kasa America is back.
That's right.
America is back. Mekuta document bi oha. Na if Joe Biden office.
Okay.
Now where the document we no minyaya enka memenda protitiru. Na the titiru pa na
SDA, that's right.
Almost some books in we so mo de kwa sorry a. Omo pa we so nka ho.
Okay.
Umede bia no say yedru aka meka sa anopa baako, anwumre baako. Umede bia o meno.
That's right.
Omo wi a omo kan Luke 21:25. And ye da bia anopa atre baako, anwumre atre baako. The go say book imu nse be wi. Fi say enche. Na memo aka me ahodo bi obook no. Production the front page no atro so. Now date was so near. My number me binum ti obeto bo ase no akọ no kakra sa.
Okay.
No one my ye the first page no nkasa no. Okay. First cover very good. Nya said there was so. Let's say sa pepe ne
Okay. Executive order.
Very good.
The White House. Briefing room. The executive order on tracking the climate crisis at home and abroad.
Very good.
January 27, 2021.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. The United States.
I say what the presidential actions.
Presidential actions. That's right. That's right.
So
okay. The United States and the world face a profound climate crisis.
Very good.
We have a narrow moment to pursue action at home and abroad in order to avoid the most catastrophic impact of that crisis and to seize the opportunity that tackling climate change presents.
Very good. Also we have a narrow moment.
Presents. Okay.
Also then we have a narrow moment. Okay, say narrow moment means say twi kura so say ye wo kwan hianya kitwa bi akaye. Yes. Say ye betimi dia bo wiase ho ban. Na sa kwanya hianya no pato ye pa video ba ko nkire mu nie nti okasa no.
Okay.
Video ba ko be kire mu sesi ansa
na so. The next video.
Yes. That's one.
A dire warning and a call for urgent action on climate change. And it comes from a panel of UN experts who say that time is running out to prevent global warming from reaching a catastrophic milestone. The group says that by the year 2030, that's just 12 years from now, the Earth could warm to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. That forecast is based on current greenhouse gas emissions. To fight it, the UN says massive changes are needed in several areas, including the energy sector and cities. So what does all this mean potentially for millions of us across the globe? Now, increased risk of extreme drought, floods, as well as food shortages. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Chad Myers. He joins us from the CNN World Weather Center. And Chad, this new UN report, it paints this frightening timeline and picture of the immediate consequences of climate change. Walk us through the report.
Yeah, a very sobering report on what would happen to the Earth at 2.0 degrees Celsius higher.
I don't know sign Evangelist, video.
Very good. Video by October 2018.
Okay.
Science for no more chess and impansan the Juma and the Osa Yeba. They said the more Casa Betomum to say. April 2018, I can we are say in fear 12 years.
Okay.
Every year 2030. At 2030, Nasi Yazay Subaya, intimate we are CB.
Okay.
Pacho or Montier me because I say, we are now a soap binum, and because I be shaded, say yes, Beba. Me Pacho, Tia Brofon, and Sana watch him.
Okay.
Our body money as a peffor. Eddie Abassa, only by 2018. Yes,
dear Pieful more bannes.
I can we are saying in fear doom 12 years.
Sister Cram, you know.
Yes, no, they are send it. Engine of cancer, we have had a narrow moment.
Okay.
And in the same brand now, or more Trump a court to say, we are see by say you to Sakrawadin, and a Trump and Chibian, 8 years free.
Okay.
And a bad year, and we'll say we have done a narrow moment. It's a say, 2021. I can't feel crew ever Biden watching.
That's right.
Some film chrono, and no na Biden no or the Juma. Say, I said him rebbe or say, she be an ya deba. Na ya sha said the Juma, and son and film chrono every. Which I say, a chairman film chrono, we answered the Mrana by ye and ye. She was said him brother by the Monimuya, so what I say. Na ya sha said Dimbrano so. And Tim film chrono in Runo, na ama, I won't talk a crap abevias. Tino can't you have a narrow me to no Biden notice and watch it in the cat. I feel better to us, baby. I said domestic action must go hand in hand.
Domestic action must go hand in hand with United States international leadership aimed at significantly enhancing global action.
Yes.
Together, we must listen to science and meet the moment.
Mo on say, or say yen na can boom, na yen see him for
the science of one or can.
And in your Bible, normally be a draw,
baby.
Aha. And na make a jazzy for say, o munsim. Na kroma yede. If say enche biano, near ye kano. Ombe boy ni na no bola no mo the science achiro bia
okay
on be chem kwalan ketwa twe ma me yem de be say kokro da mo chiro be wu we be chiro bibiara e wasase so
okay
and na won say impacha afi o de koso kai
say by the authority vested in me as president,
yes,
by the constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows.
Wa utie brofo ya me nim say the message sa brofo ya say was say to me a
ye ma me say America man panyin no,
yes,
anamo a ma hyese ye ndi achi
na sa anamo no on hye no America o hye mo wiase nyinara ba de na kasa no,
okay,
because the document are home and abroad,
that's right,
and you know o hye afi bra baby a part 1 no one baby a
part 1,
yes,
putting the climate crisis at the center of United States foreign policy and national security.
So I say foreign what policy. And you know what America ho amanoni
se Ghana pebosen a
yes,
just all the men shisha me dia ba ye adwuma so opeso tu kwa ba Ghana just all men shisha bi
sanity ne nyina document no,
wow,
sir. And you know call section 101 baby a
section 101,
yes,
policy United States international engagement to address climate change,
yes,
which has become a climate crisis, is more necessary and urgent than ever. The scientific community has made clear that the scale and speed of necessary action is greater than previously believed.
So I say also say the scientific community no ni bibia no original science so.
That's right.
For friends so can try and say or compare for science no dey be see Bible so na for them we are saying.
That's right.
Donald Trump Joe Biden so no so dey or the for science and you nyina share our scientific grounds. And the year canoa, I'm not going to say agrono. Question some no more day bano. And you says a tension of question, baby. Almost if we are seeing a kayan film crime, say. And no quite the possible boy home band, and more back on the same this life, yes, sign of the world, no. Ha, so I say. I feel to ask a credit, there is a little time left where he paragraph your
okay, I'll say there is a little time left.
Very good.
To avoid setting the world on a dangerous, potentially catastrophic climate trajectory.
And you know, just don't person much in an say. I can't breathe ya. I was say we are saying if free, I was say we are saying I seen it trash. Just a baby, we are saying the Ninya children. I can't breathe away, say yes, some we are saying. If you have come, this are no intimate and yashi. So, but you also crama.
Responding to the climate crisis will require both significant short-term global reductions in greenhouse gas emission and net zero global emission by mid-century or before.
Very good. Sa brofo no wakano. Ehona papa no eye sa David Smanja no ochiremo say yem fada kunso ne mpa home. Ti ye home nyina na reduce carbon emission chese ye ti so. Enti kwase da so na se ka bia anye dwuma pragia nkwa dwuma okada anye dwuma play and two shape and two a sa emusi ahodo na free samfide nyina mu no wo bo ano afia ema ewiem no esobete ewiem hie no sobete said the science chire ni.
Okay,
so I just say
okay,
after course session
102,
yeah, maybe
purpose. This order builds on and reaffirms action by administration has already taken to place the climate crisis at the forefront
yes.
of the nation's foreign policy and national security planning, including submitting the United States instrument of acceptance to rejoin the Paris Agreement.
Also, implementing
and building upon the Paris Agreement's three overreaching objectives.
Yes.
A safe global temperature, increased climate resilience, and financial flows aligned with a pathway towards low greenhouse gas emission and climate resilient development.
Yes.
The United States will exercise its leadership to promote a significant increase in global climate ambition to meet the climate challenge in this regard.
Very good. After Obeko column G, maybe I watch the secretary, and also flip pages about 2. Also, why no, our number no alphabetically.
Okay.
Yeah, now my column G, no better say when I see what the page before. Oba say the page before no, baby, almost said the secretary shall. I want to hear shall see what
Okay.
Yes.
I'll say the Secretary of State and the Secretary of the Treasury shall submit the plan to the President.
Yes.
Through the assistance to the President for National Security Affairs.
Yes.
And the Assistant to the President for Economic Policy. Within 90 days of the date of this order.
Oh, you say, young can be a bonnet of a brainty. Now, or say, what is the committees are who now committees nature say. Committees no or show them say 1 month or 90 days. From the date of this order. Order near 27 January.
Okay.
And by 27th February, March, April. Let's just say order na abin.
That's right.
Was see a shea biara, a quanchre biara, a fad dear yaji to more Paris. The Ossi and Yanye. And dear yen na yedi kanwa ebebuano sa committee no onko transi no hwe ni nyinam.
Okay.
Na yemfa ho hye na mane bombe to nanim. Na mfa yemfa nye dwuma.
Okay.
Adwuma de be ne se omo de ba ono be dia to no de ma wiase. O de ma wiase wi a yemfa nye dwuma mna mo ho a. Wiase o meeting kakraka bi November afi mu. E ho de di sansan nyina de akotodwa na mfa yenni so. E na me ka kire ayi ezi ko ma me na fo titi se. Omummo mpa ye se committee no a ekoye dwuma no. Omummo mpa ye se committee ni adwure mfi. Chese mo adwin enkai se de kwese de bi ahyem.
Okay.
Meme na fo mo sampaye no.
Na sampaye we be yi. Because there is a prophecy to that effect.
Omummo
se nya me homedan.
Yes,
say the one keep Sabbath.
Very good. Say ye tra ha ka say. Aba na ye ko to no America no. Trump belusu. On do no frame so David sa asem de mi enka. Enso so no lusi.
Okay.
Enti we no de men ka say ebebem omummo mpa ye say ekwa amanema. Say me ka kasa bobo. Omukwa omummo. Now, Obeka just one particular page by my Ahaka Cray.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I will host an early leaders.
Yes.
Climate summit aimed at raising climate ambition and making a positive contribution to the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties. That's COP.
Yes.
COP26 and beyond.
And beyond. I don't know. And you know, sa early meeting no be hold no 22nd April 2021 obe meeting wa America
Ghana for one channel so homa pani betu no to
all by all means
na e wotu no to mo say yakan.
Yes. Na sa meeting no o say nhye ya e wo say di adwuma any anoje na o use brofo no beyond just say the oman campo na say duro na so mbeka ya ne nyina no
o mo de beka
ho en na me kire mo say brofo no wa nwene no o say we no eye order eye o hye. And the ocean about the Eshayan, Pacho Edi and Nani Echre Bible, Revelation chapter 13, verse 50. When I say in conscience yet or the echo.
Okay,
sir. Now, some Joe McCain, you have more video back from Wasi.
Okay, okay. Production, Mr. Moore said, Momo video at was on for my
global action on shared challenges. On day one, I signed the paperwork to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. We're taking steps led by an example of integrating climate objectives across all of our diplomacy and raising the ambition of our climate targets. That way we can challenge other nations, other major emitters, to up the ante on their own commitments. I'll be hosting a Climate Leaders Summit to address the climate crisis on Earth Day of this year. America must lead in the face of this existential threat. And just as with the pandemic, it requires global cooperation.
Adolfo, you sign Emma Kwababio, Yako video, no, Yama evangelist in Tim, you need prayer.
Yes, Paul said all concept or behold the early climate summits.
That's right.
Or video, no. And only April 22nd, 2021. Na Bebia, we are sending Conshako drone. It's your bedroom Revelation chapter 13, verse 15.
Okay.
And when I drone, Bebia mattress and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
Okay.
That the image of the beast should both speak. And when I say you drone, and the document Noah. What ye say, young cofa, Shishayahu Dombrano. Says your mom pie say, Uncle de Babo Kana, a bay so.
Because I should be a
oh, we are moving. The only Babano, and on that day upwarding, and best share near Omoja tomb April 2015, and Yejumano. After the Bay Yejuma.
Okay.
Most of my educated mentions on said Genesis 2:7 says Nakopon or the phone dot nipa.
That's right.
And whom we go dipem and the pastor kika by your cratas.
That's right.
On one minister name go
Nakasi Yebe Gum.
And on the good
Americans on the Behumi
and one
free mono.
Yes, they say no the humini Asian or Humigumwa. Yabetinka. And Tinaka media the Robobi or a decent children watching. Teachemu 9 any no. Me my moon freedom. No one and Neboni be. Na so twen bi na some message we no 7-day Adventist church mo na nyankopon de ahye mo anum se mo nka nkire wiase e na mo chewo na mo ka mo no atum mo ti what na twam akọ sado say papa no kai o say America is back media ka metu maminafo nyina afo omo chia yonko do maranata mo hia ni nyina bi omo mfa papa ibrofo aka omo mfa nka ho
America is
wo hia wo no a
America is back.
America is back.
Adolfo, yenya yanke beto aso na enso ebre yeninka so dodo akonwa so ba ko entna so enche. Enenso ye de dwumadie no eba na wie me hu se messages bebrebe aba amakwa from Kumasi, and I have a couple of questions. Akwa ye wie program na obetimi afre na questions no wetimi ebisa. Minya yanka mekan mu messages no bet ye bre no ayebe. A lot of interruptions in RTV today. RTV technical team no Mr. Monshe and my Sedebeya. Okay. My heart started beating looking at the way evangelist is teaching. The world is almost coming to an end. Opening and please, what is the caption of the book you recommended for 7-day Adventist? Me part of book needing executive order of tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad. The White House book na you can't say SD for a moment is almost the quite first one sabeka be so ya sem no. It adofno enanso ye de dwumadi na besi ha. Na mesrem mo se 7 penny say kwache ade fa ye disika na ye air time a ye teswa ye kasa 1 hour no ye tuaka ye boho ka na ya dofo num bi num ne titin sika kakrakra na ma to afam from dia brain na ye de atua ho ka enti wonso betimi adwen ne saafo no kakra bi e word fo nsem no wonso betimi dia brain 055 35 74933 a good screen so no na what the ba e din e beba na Joseph Anane. The same line also na person evangelist Joseph Anane ekasa obefre 055 35 74933 and I mean esuafo de she kofi kakaren so betimi afreme 0244 132368. That's 0244 132368. Semenshia Raphael Mr. Me wie program na frame na me misa question bi badaroma. Evangelist Joseph Anane na nyankopon nam na so ekasa kire na me so evangelist esuafo de she kofi kakari bi hwe agi dwumadie no ababa na wotwe se ne wabrabo nunsia ekobo no nso no edi yemre bebo akwan so na kan so se fiada English program no so ebesan abawa kwan so bio eno no ye 7:30 to 8:30 inti hye no so sa ye ho ahirae na onkoso nkakae ni animra ye ho so SDF mo ya ye kama mu a muntime mpo. This is the time I said, me mind, free no movie. nyame nhyira mo